Hi guys, the Home Service Pro here. Today we're going to change out a boiler pump that's failed. I have one room in the house that has no heat. We're going to go ahead and get that pump changed out and see what happens. Let's get started. Okay guys, so this is the pump that's giving us a hard time. First thing we're going to do is we made sure the power is shut off to it here. Every boiler is a little bit different, but most of them will have some kind of shut off. You may have to shut the whole controller off. Sometimes it's just a switch on the wall like this one. Either way, make sure you got your power shut off. Then we want to make sure we isolate the boiler. So we're going to go ahead and shut this valve off. Follow this up, shut this valve off. Now we're isolated to this amount of water or boiler antifreeze when we take it out. So we're going to go ahead and start taking this pump off now. And this one here, the screw here, because this motor's right here, I can't get to the screw. So we're going to go ahead and loosen the flanges up, take the bolts out, and rotate it a little bit to get to the wiring on it. All right, so we got all 4 bolts loosened up on it, or taken out. I'm gonna go ahead and take this pump and just rotate it a little bit so I can get to these screws for the wiring. Then this cover just pulls straight off. All right, with this style pump, you push the little white levers in, pull the wires out one at a time. Then these 2 screws up here, we got to loosen these up to be able to pull the wire back out of the Romex. I find it easier just to remove the screws all the way out. Once you get both of those loose, you just pull the top right off of it like that. Again, don't lose these screws because these will be important. We'll need them for the new pump. From there, we just go ahead and straighten these wires out and just lift the wiring right up out of the top of the pump, just like that. Then we can go ahead and remove the pump. We're going to get a little bit of water because there's water trapped in the pump. So when we pull that pump, we're going to get a little bit of water coming out of it. Plus this little bit of piping from the ball valve down, that's going to drain out as well. So there we go. There's the old pump. This here just simply spins out of the pump. We'll need this for the new one. So here's the old pump. We'll get the new pump prepped and ready to go here. So this is the new pump that we're putting in place. You can see the electrical is the same. These do come with the covers loose. Normally the screws, there's a little screw packet that's sitting inside here. I've already opened this up. So from there, we want to just make sure that our pump is going to fit back into the position that the old one was in. This one here is a direct replacement. So the first thing we're going to want to do is put this electrical connector back into the pump. And again, that just spins down. And there's that. So now on each end of the pump, you can see this little groove right here. That's where the rubbers go that seal the water in. So we have a rubber here. And you can see it's kind of squared off. It's circle, but it's squared off on the edges. You simply just push that down into that groove. And this one here is not quite sticking for me, but either way, you get both of them set into place. And then one thing that's important that you need to check is on the side of the pumps, there's always an arrow. Right here is the arrow on this one. The old one I think was on the valve body, and it's pumping down. We want to make sure always to make sure you're pumping the same direction as the pump that you pulled out. So we'll go ahead and put this back together here. There's a little bit of play in the piping, so you just got to kind of lift the piping up and get things moved around. Before we get this all bolted back in, though, we got to go ahead and do that wiring. So we're going to turn this sideways like that. Shove your wires back down into the new pump. Just like that. Okay, and then we need to grab the cover for the wiring. So this has got this little tongue on it, and you can see there's a little hole here. That tongue goes into the hole. And then from there, everything should line right up for these screws that go down through. And it's always best practice to, whenever you're working with electrical, have an electrical meter with you and test the power before you grab hold of it. The reason I didn't on this one is I'm the one that piped all of this. I know for sure that all the wiring goes dead when I shut that power off to that switch. All right, so I got that wiring hooked back up here. Now I just got to get it back on here. Now there's 3 different symbols here. One, it kind of looks like a Christmas tree. That is our ground. Green is ground. N is neutral, white is neutral, and L is load. Load is our power, that's our black wire. So in order to put these wires in, we push down on that button and just push the wire into the slot, let off that, and now that's locked on there. So we're just going to go ahead and hook our neutral up. And then hook our load up. And then we're going to take all these wires and just kind of fold them down like this out of the way so our cover can go back on without those being in our way. So I've got the new cover here. We'll go ahead and put the cover on. And then we need to grab those screws that were in that packet I showed you earlier. That's the screws for the cover. So then we just go ahead and put these screws back in the cover. There we go. Now we're going to line all the holes up for our bolts to go back down through here. And then what I always do is I always drop a bolt in the top, get it dropped down in there, get the other one dropped down in on the top, on the other side. And after doing that, then we know that our pump flange down here should be lined up left to right. Now we just got to get the bolts in there. And also you got to grab a nut with this one, because when you shove it up through, you got to get a nut on there. So I get that one started like that. Get the other side started. And that is one thing that's different about this pump than the old pump, is on the old pump we had to get a wrench up on the top here to hold this nut. With this one, there's little grooves that the nut drops down into, just like that. And so now we only have to get a wrench on the bottom to tighten this up. We don't have to have 2 wrenches, we only need 1. Most of the Grundfos new pumps are set up this way. Some of the older ones were not. You're going to get that snug, but you don't want to go super tight with it until you have the other one somewhat tight too. That way you're kind of torquing them down evenly so you're not pinching one side of that gasket and not the other. Okay, get this one tightened up. There we go. Now the next process is the valve on the lower part. Our boiler water comes up through, no, I'm sorry. The boiler water goes down through on this one, but what we're going to do is we're going to open this bottom valve until we get water coming out of the top of the flange up here, because then we know that we got all the air pushed out of this pump all the way up to here. And then we'll go ahead and burp the top one just to get that little bit of air there, and then we know that the boiler is purged and we don't have to worry about air locking this pump. So I'm going to go ahead and open this up just a little bit. There we go, got water coming out. We'll just go ahead and shut that valve back off. Now we can go ahead and put our bolts in, because we know that we're purged of air all the way up to here. There might be just that little bit of slug of air there, but that's all right. That little bit's not going to hurt a thing. Now, if it was 2 foot above it or whatever, we'd want to go ahead and hook a hose up to this boiler drain here, go to a bucket, open that up after we get this pump bolted down, just to push that air down and out the hose bib so we're not sending it out to the boiler. So let me get these 2 nuts started on this other side. There's always one bolt that you fight. Well, and this is it on this one. And again, you want to get this one just starting to snug up, and then go ahead and get the other side so you're crushing that rubber down evenly. And there we go. So we got the new pump installed. We're going to go ahead and open the bottom valve, open the top valve, and then as long as we have no leaks, we can go ahead and turn power on, and we should hear this pump kick right on. And there it is, it's up and running. So we should have heat upstairs now. Okay, so there was one step I forgot to tell you guys. We got both of these valves on, we got water going through it, it's running. This screw on the end, this is a bleed screw. You got to go ahead and loosen this screw up. Don't take it all the way out, but just loosen it up. Well, you can take it all the way out, but you don't need to. And just let it sit for a minute. And eventually, it's going to get liquid coming out of that just ever so slightly on the bottom here. And that's making sure that we have, this is a liquid cooled pump. So we want to make sure that we have liquid all the way back through the cartridge of the pump. It might take a minute to do this. I know you can't see it from back there, but I'm getting just a little bit of a puddle filling in just on the bottom there. So I'm going to go ahead and tighten the screw back in. Well, there you go, guys. We got the pump installed. It's not leaking. It's up and running. It's working the way it's supposed to. We got it bled out. If you found this video helpful, please like and subscribe to my channel. It helps us grow. Have a great day, and remember, you got this. We'll see you on the next one, guys. Thank you.